everyone, Sedge here, just Sedge. I'm gonna go a bit off script. I'd rather say it from the face than from the words, wherever they may be. I also don't know how long this is gonna be either, so it could be 5 minutes, it could be 15. But this video will be an answer to the question, what now? Which like 4 of you will be asking. So this is gonna be like a summary of what's gonna happen in the near future, the distant future, and everywhere in between. Because if you hadn't already noticed, Dan has left the channel at least as a regular person. I mean, he's gonna be here like regularly, but not too regularly, like a casual job. So he's resigned from co-owner. Actually, that's pretty much spot on, yeah. Which is completely explained in the previous video, which I'm sure you've probably seen. So this is not the end, but a new beginning. Hence the ellipsis in the title and the one following. Did you get that? Because like, goodbye Dan, ... So what now? I thought about it. So the channel's back to being just Sedge, and it'll probably... What the fuck was that? The channel's just back to being Sedge, and it'll probably stay like that for a long time. That doesn't mean it'll just be me on the channel. It will be predominantly me, because I have more time than anyone. So Dan isn't necessarily gone, he's just no longer responsible for the channel. I'll quickly go into why Dan left from a more personal level, because I feel like this channel's more transparent. We're honest, not just like, oh, he had a cancer. Just one cancer. So we've been discussing it for quite a while, because of course Dan has a job and a girlfriend, and now he's got 2 jobs. But when he had just the job and the girlfriend, the situation was already quite dire. So he wanted to help with the channel, obviously, at least contribute more than he did. Because since the beginning of the channel, I've been contributing 90 to 95% of the content, if not more. All the effort towards the channel. Understandably, Dan felt bad because he couldn't contribute to the channel as much as I was, which makes sense. But of course, as also explained in the previous video, money is a key issue. Now, lucky for me, I've got a job where I get to sit here with pajamas and do almost the same thing, but paid for it. In the side time, where I'm located in the same place I can make stuff, On my side, it's kind of like I wanted to have Sedge and Dan in almost every single video, because like I'm available to do solo videos almost whenever, but if it was just like Sedge and Dan, Sedge and Dan, Sedge and Dan, me, Sedge and Dan, me, extreme unbalance, despite the obvious availability issue. One day, I think it was also when we're recording highlights, it may actually be footage. I probably don't have it. Do I have it? Alright, we worked out the best way to continue without being a burden on either of us is if Dan steps back, not down, but he steps back, avoids all responsibility. I get to do whatever. This actually gives me much more freedom and variety, so now I can make collaborations, do more experimental stuff. Realistically, I could be doing that before, but now I've got no limitations necessarily. It was a constant mental limitation, just like I could make this entire thing in a day, but I'd either have to add Dan to the actual thing or just like shoehorn him in. I prefer making solo content if it's something broader. Co-op stuff with Dan is awesome with like highlights and podcasts, but when it comes to things like the parodies and stuff, the thing where it's just voice and video, that sort of thing, I actually prefer doing those solo. It helps with improvisation, which I suck at. Obviously. I'm probably going to keep rambling on about the same points and topics, but with different words. But essentially, Dan has a life now. Damn it. We've been weighed down by obligation, and the best course of action was essentially to give more freedom to both of us for our respective pursuits. That's what's happened. That's what's happening. The final decision was quite abrupt even for me too. I've had like 3 or 4 days to try and process it now, because it just kind of almost happened. Like, this was actually after the previous podcast, because he didn't want to ruin it, because we did a massive recording session, and then afterwards he's just like, I gotta go. Thank you for that, Dan, for not making it sad. So yeah, I'm also in the state of like, what the hell do I do next? Because as you're probably well aware, I'm doing my uni animation right now. Like literally right now, it's right there. So I put full focus into it. So I have a lot less time currently than I usually do. But fortunately, once the animation's out and done, and everything that's completely done, and I've finished uni forever, I will do the ever-promised freedom time. That's not what it's called, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. So pretty much when uni's done, I'll be able to have so much more freedom with this channel, and number 1, I'll briefly address that. I'm working on Schlock 6, that's still happening. I still don't know when that's going to come out. I've pretty much done the basic editing for it, so maybe this month. I'm aiming for this month, but I don't want to rush it because it's a big one. That's for this channel, which is the whole point of this video. I say between now and maybe mid to end September, sort of the same pacing, you know, maybe 1-2 videos a week. The podcast will be whenever Dan's available. So I said like maybe a week span, and then if Dan's available on the Sunday, we'll do it on Sunday. I'll try and release them on the Sundays for a sort of consistency thing, but if Dan's not available for the week, there'll simply be no podcast. It's that simple. And I'm not doing a solo podcast because that's kind of stupid, unless I can find a different way of doing it. I don't know. Again, I'm also in the state of just like, what am I doing? But nevertheless, once uni's finished, I'll be doing plenty of stuff. I'll be also planning a complete channel overhaul. So for now, I'm just having like a simple, pretty much the same logo as you had before, but without the and Dan bit. But I'm going to do like a full-on channel overhaul. I might try and get like a uniform thumbnail sort of design, that sort of thing. I'm thinking red. I like red, as you can probably tell by the bed sheets, the red sheets. I might plan the redesign for the remainder of the year and then implement it at the very start of next year. I quite like starting at the beginning of things. That makes sense. So the remainder of the year will probably be pretty laid back until uni's done, in which case I'm going flat out, trying a whole bunch of different things, doing collaborations, different parodies of things, more steaming pile, of course, that sort of thing. You'd be glad to know plenty of more stuff with Dan whenever he can. The man with a plan who has a girth span 12 centimeters. Is that a penis joke? You tell me. I'm sure you'll get sick of me if you aren't already. If not, then welcome to the new chapter of the channel. And you definitely haven't seen the last of Dan, even for this week. We've got 2 highlights, one coming out tomorrow, another one coming out on Friday, and then a third coming out on next Tuesday. Plenty of footage ready to go, featuring the one and only Dan. Featuring Dan. I can't. So pretty much for the next few weeks, it'll be kind of consistent, if not for a while actually. It'll be fairly, Dan will appear on a weekly or, bi-weekly basis, as often as he usually has, likely. But there'll be more solo stuff. I'm going to try and broaden that, like my horizons, try and experiment with different things. As soon as uni's done, I'm going to just tackle as many collaborations as I can, not as many as I can, but you know what I mean, I just want to branch. And I can also try and fix the streaming thing, because I can't do that right now, because everything's going wrong and my internet actually disconnected during that sentence. That's pretty much it, I guess. Thank you for watching. If you've got any questions or any suggestions, really, of where the channel should go next, preferably serious ones, post any suggestions, comments, whatnot in the comments. And yeah, I don't have an outro, so I'm just gonna say bye, and that's pretty much it. Bye.